Hey YouTube, how is it going today? Well, the Tattooed Chef is having a pretty good day so far, and they are out with the news. So in this video, I want to go over that news and get into their chart and see if we can get an idea where the Tattooed Chef might be going next. And then after that, I have some other nice looking tradable charts to show you as well. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've been trading and investing for over 20 years, and in every video, I'll show you some of the potential trades and investments that I see setting up. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any future trading or investing ideas. And I also have a Patreon group, so if you would like to be a part of our community and see what we are buying and selling in real time, that link is in the description. All right, well, as usual, I'm going to get into the news first, and the article out today says the Tattooed Chef launches vegetable products in Whole Foods market stores nationwide. Tattooed Chef, a leader in plant-based foods, today announced it has launched 2 of its original vegetable products in Whole Foods market stores. Starting this week, their 12-ounce bags of the following will be found at Whole Foods market stores. Now, those products are the Organic Greens 5, which are an assortment of 5 different greens: seasoned zucchini, broccoli, peas and leeks, and haricot verts. Now, I'm not sure if I'm saying that last one correct, but I think any way you say those, they are gross! Now, the next product is zucchini spirals, and they're just 100% zucchini individually portioned in a spiral nest. Sarah Galletti, the founder and the original Tattooed Chefs, says that we are excited to officially launch our branded products in their stores. Our Organic Greens 5 and Zucchini Spirals are delicious, and we can't wait for you to try them. These delicious vegetables are available in the frozen section at Whole Food markets. They require a 1-step preparation and are ready to eat within minutes. Each product starts at $3.99 per bag. Alrighty, so let's jump over to my TC2000 charting software and see if we can determine where the Tattooed Chef might be going next. But first off, just a couple of things. Number one, if you could like the smash button for me and help me out with the YouTube algorithm, I would greatly appreciate that. And number two is, of course, I am not a financial advisor. Please do all of your own research before buying any stocks you see in my videos. All of this is just my opinion, and this is for entertainment and actually for educational purposes only, because I do try to teach you guys a little bit of technical analysis. And technical analysis, at least for me anyway, works best for short-term moves, so I like to use it to see where the market could be going in the short term. But anyway, let's get into this chart. As we can see, the Tattooed Chef is having a pretty decent day to the upside. Now, I do think that that news that I talked about earlier was pretty good, but I don't think that that's really that earth-shattering. It shouldn't be attributing completely to this huge up move in the Tattooed Chef. It was good news, but I do think this move today is more of a product of the the Tattooed Chef finally starting to bottom out. You see, it's been forming this very nice bottoming out pattern for the last couple of weeks, and now that it's getting some pretty decent news catalysts, it's just exploding to the upside. I think that the NASDAQ, as of right now, I'm making this video intraday, I think the NASDAQ is only up just a little bit, and I think the S&P 500 and the Dow are just down slightly. So, you can see the Tattooed Chef is performing much better than the overall market, but I do think a lot of that is because this pattern was just starting to dissipate to the downside, and this thing was just itching to break out of this triangle consolidation and start heading higher. In my last video, I talked about when they came out with their earnings, and the stock was actually holding up pretty well despite the market being down. If the market didn't completely roll over, I expected the Tattooed Chef to perform better than the market. Now, the Tattooed Chef, as of right now, is performing much better than the market, and I thought it had a pretty good shot of getting up towards $20 a share. I didn't think it was going to be this quick. But hey, this thing is busting out of this triangle, and when a stock has been in a downtrend like this, has had a lot of pressure on it. Usually it doesn't take a whole lot of buying pressure to make it explode out of one of these patterns once the selling pressure finally starts to dissipate. So hopefully the Tattooed Chef is going to be in an uptrend. By the way, I do own shares in the Tattooed Chef, so I am a little biased here, but I'm trying to keep a close eye on the Tattooed Chef and let you guys know where I think it could be going in the short term. Now, it looks like there definitely is going to be some resistance up here at the 20 periods or 200 period simple moving average, right around $20.30 a share. But right now, it's having a hard time getting past about $19.60 a share. And if we go over to the weekly chart, we can see if we zoom in that the 50 period simple moving average and the 21 period exponential moving average, which is that purple line, are right in that area. And that's what's offering that resistance right now. A lot of times when these stocks start moving up into these major moving averages, that's when you get some pretty decent resistance, and you just want to be aware of those levels. You can see when the stock came down to the 50 period on the weekly chart before, definitely had a bounce, and it had some a little bounce when it hit it again before finally breaking through it. And you can see it bounced off of that in December as well. Now, if we go to the hourly chart and just take a closer look at how this trend is starting to materialize, you can see we had that false break. This is what I like to see when I get that trend reversal. I want to see that false break and then a move right back up into the consolidation, which of course was this triangle consolidation. You want to see a little bit of a pullback and then a test of that support level. You get a test of that support level and it holds, then that's when you want to buckle up and wait for it to break through this trend line. Once it breaks through that trend line, you usually get a pretty decent move up, and you can see it's up much stronger than the overall market at this point. So I think the Tattooed Chef, by the looks of this chart, could finally be out of this downtrend. Now, what we want to see here is a little consolidation, a little move sideways, and then another move up, another print of a decent-looking green candle like this. And I think the Tattooed Chef could be off to the races after that. All right, so before I get into some of the other nice-looking charts that I want to show you, I do want to take a look at some of these market averages, because I do think we're at a very critical and pivotal point in the market. I think the action that happens after today's move, and it could even happen right now if we get a strong move one way or the other, I think that's going to determine the direction of the overall market for at least the next couple of days or so. But this is the QQQ, which is the ETF for the NASDAQ. We can see the NASDAQ has been grinding up into these moving averages. So right about now is when you usually either get that rollover or you get that explosion higher. We can see these last 2 days have been pretty much doji candles. So what that represents is indecision in the market. I think everybody's kind of looking at each other, waiting to see if this thing has bottomed and if we're going to explode above these moving averages, or if more selling is going to come into the market and make everything roll over. You can see the Qs are at a very critical point. And if we jump over to the spider, which of course is the S&P 500, we can see it is barely holding above those moving averages, and we'd have a couple of pretty much doji-looking candles as well. So the S&P 500 is just kind of hanging out there. But I mean, if we print a really big, decent-looking size green candle, I think the downtrend could be over. But if this thing breaks down through these moving averages, we probably have more selling to come after that. And if we look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is the DIA, we can see the very same thing is happening with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, just kind of hanging above those moving averages. Now, the longer it stays above those moving averages, the better. So obviously this is a bullish sign, but we need that next step, which is a move out of this little 3-bar consolidation to the upside. So, as I think the reason why the Dow and the spider haven't broken out yet is because the Qs are kind of holding it back. But if we get a big update tomorrow, we should get some pretty decent follow-through for the rest of the week. So I just wanted to show you that first to give the overall market a little bit of context. But the first stock that I wanted to show you I thought was a pretty nice-looking pattern was PLUG. And if we jump over to PLUG, let me back out a little bit. It has this descending wedge formation, and it's getting a nice little breakout. It hit the bottom of that trend line, broke just below it. Of course, these trend lines are a little bit subjective, so you don't want to hold the trend line bounce to exactly where that trend line is. I mean, it can go a little bit below it and still be intact. But if we zoom in a little bit, we can see it had a nice reversal off of it, held just below those moving averages, so it had a couple of days of indecision, then boom, popped above it, and now it's holding that 8-period exponential moving average and starting to hook higher. Now, another thing that I'm seeing in the markets right now is a lot of these growth stocks that have been getting killed lately, they are performing stronger than the overall market, which of course is a very good sign for me because the last couple of weeks or so I have been buying, Clean Spark, I've been buying the Tattooed Chef, I've been buying Palantir, just because they have been so weak. And I think that eventually money is going to rotate back into these type of growth stocks, and it looks like it might be happening already. It's a little bit too early to tell, but I mean, this is definitely a pretty good sign. But Plug looks like it could be continuing higher in probably for the rest of the week. Now, if the market, of course, has a big down day, all bets are off. It's going to wreck a lot of chart patterns. But the way these chart patterns are playing out right now, this is a very bullish looking chart pattern in the short term for Plug. Next one I want to show you was SELB. And I actually own this stock, so I am a little bit biased on this one, but this is a beautiful bottoming formation. Actually, if we go intraday, we can see it just a little bit better. Let me go to the hourly chart. This is how a lot of stocks bottom. So if you get used to looking for this, you can usually make some pretty decent trades. You want it to start slowing down as far as the velocity. Then you want a false move down. So you want a break down through the support area and then a quick move right back up. Now, what I like to do sometimes, actually most of the time, especially lately, because there's been so much indecision, I like to wait for it to break down below that 8-period exponential moving average, and if it holds that low, then I wait for it to break back above it, and that's exactly what's happening with SELB right now. So it's looking like it's making a pretty decent bottoming formation. Now, if we go back to the daily chart, we can see there's definitely some resistance ahead. So that's my disclaimer on SELB, but it's definitely with a pattern that looks like this nice of a bottoming formation. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if it blasts through these two moving averages right here. I mean, they're only about 10 cents above the current price, so we're going to know real quick if it's going to be able to bust through those moving averages, but definitely a beautiful bottoming formation on SELB. And I think if the market does end up moving higher, if those three averages end up moving higher than where they are, and it end up breaking, like the Qs end up breaking above those moving averages, and then of course the Dow and the S&P 500 hold their average and print a nice green candle, I think stocks that have patterns like SELB should do quite well. All right, well, the next one I want to show you is USWS. And I've been watching this one. This one came all the way down to the yellow line, which is the 200-period simple moving average. Tested it twice, and now it looks like it's starting to blast higher. So this one kind of went down and then found support at the 200-period simple moving average, started to break out a little bit, pulled back to this 200 simple period moving average, and now it looks like it's starting to blast off again. So USWS, definitely a nice looking pattern. And before I close it out, I did have a question from Hugo. He was asking about NVAX. All right, NVAX is making a kind of a weak counter trend after this gap down, and it is right at the moving average. So this one is a pretty tough one to call. Obviously, it's right at resistance, so it could easily roll back over. I think a lot of it is depending on the overall market. So I think NVAX, Novavax is definitely going to be held hostage by the market. So you're going to have to want to see where the overall market is going, because chances are if the overall market breaks higher, NVAX could have enough power to blast through these moving averages. But if there is any weakness in the overall market, I would expect NVAX to be weaker than the average stock, just because it's been kind of a weak bounce into resistance. And usually when the market rolls over, when a stock is making a pattern like this, these ones tend to roll over pretty hard. So Hugo, if you're in this one, this was a pretty tough point in the pattern to call. Hopefully the market does show some strength and blast through those moving averages, because I think that's definitely going to work out good for both of us. But as far as NVAX, I mean, there is a lot of overhead resistance, plus you have this gap down in front of it, so there's a lot of selling in this one. I don't know what I would do with this one, Hugo. I think If I wasn't in it, I would probably just wait. And if I was in it, I would wait to see how the overall market does this week. And if the overall market starts to roll over, I would probably be quick to get out of this one because it's probably going to roll over hard. And if you wanted to be a long-term owner of this stock, you're probably going to get some better prices to buy it back. But that being said, I do think that the market is probably going to end up going higher. Perhaps I'm a little biased because I have gotten long some pretty decent growth companies this last week or so. So I do think it's going to go higher. Hopefully it does, but hopefully that helped you out, Hugo. And if any of you guys do have any other questions, or if you have any comments on my overall channel, please leave them down there in the comment section, even if they're critical, or if you have something that you think I should be doing better. Please let me know, because I appreciate any feedback you guys give me. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.